Welcome back, you petastical people. It is Chris Nichols here, and we're taking a quick look at two Nikkor pre-production lenses. First, in my hand, the brand new 180 to 600, 5.6 to 6.3, but we're also going to take a quick sneak peek look at the new 70 to 180 f2.8. Let's do it. Now, it's a good thing that today is just a look at pre-production lenses and that we can't test everything because frankly, we've got some atmospheric conditions, still a lot of smoke from the forest fires, so I can't really shoot effectively at long distances. Also, we've got a very short window with our schedules to actually shoot. We only have a few hours with these lenses, so we're gonna try to get through it as quick as possible. Now, right off the bat, when I first picked this up, it absolutely reminds me of the Nikkor 200 to 500 f5.6. That was a very popular SLR lens, fairly affordable, still gave you great range, well built, and it was very popular. And so I see this as sort of the spiritual successor to that. Now, this is not a fixed 5.6, it's a 5.6 to 6.3. At 300 millimeters, it transitions to f6, and then at 500 millimeters, it transitions to f6.3. But it's still light and compact, and it does give us that extra 100 millimeters at the long end. Now, it is actually a little bit lighter in my hand than the 200 to 500, and I should mention that the zoom is completely internal, so the weight doesn't really shift as you're zooming it. Feels really nicely well balanced in the hand, and I'm not having any problems, even me, holding this with just one hand. Weight-wise, without the collar, this is 1,955 grams, a great year. America was at the height of its post-war heyday anyways. If you put the collar on, it goes to 2140, which was, I think, the year the Tolmecs say that the world is going to end. That might be an inaccurate statement. So regardless, just under a knocked without the collar, just over a knocked with the collar, very manageable overall. Now up here at the front, you've got a big, large rubber collar. It doesn't do anything, it's just there for grip, but nice customizable buttons surrounding that. You've got actually a really nice quick short throw on the zoom here. I like that when you're shooting sports and wildlife. The 200 500 are actually quite a long throw. And then we do have a customizable ring here. You'll probably use this for manual focus in a lot of cases, but you can set up for aperture or something like that as well. Here on the side, we've got autofocus and manual focus switch, and we also have a focus limiter from 6 meters to infinity if you so desire. One thing that we do not have here is a VR selector switch. Now, this does have a 5.5 stop VR system built into the lens, but I can't change it on lens, which that's annoying. I'm looking off camera because my Nikon rep is staring at me with his cold dead eyes right there, and I'm saying, this is annoying that we don't have the selector switch there. You gotta go into the camera to do it, but hey, we still have VR. Now, what about autofocus for sports and wildlife? Well, this lens doesn't have a linear motor. It is a stepping motor. It's nice and quiet. You can see here at 180 millimeters, it is snappy and fast. At 600 millimeters, I'd say it's still nice and quick, but it is a little bit slower at 600 millimeters than it is at 180. Now, here at the front of the lens, we have Nikon's new hood style. We've seen this on a lot of their other modern telephotos. Simple push button to release, and then it just clicks back in place automatically. I like that, lightweight. Filters are 95 millimeters here in the front, and actually if you are upgrading from that DSLR to a lovely Z8 and you're now going to upgrade your 200 to 500 to a 180 to 600, those filters will carry over. So that saves you some money, a little bit. So I'm just trying to hunt. There's damselflies all over. Jordan, do you know how to tell the difference between a dragonfly and a damselfly?
No.
It's the wings. Damsels, the wings lie backwards, and dragonflies, you don't.
I don't care.
You don't give a Okay, so what is nice about this lens is it's got a pretty decent macro capability. At 600 millimeters, I get 1 to 4 life-size reproduction. Now that's pretty good. The tricky part is I've got a lot of working distance. I mean, it's quite a few feet. So trying to get keyed in on a small damselfly on the ground is challenging, but it is impressive, especially in a more controlled scenario, how close I can actually get with this lens. So let me preface this with, I would love to get a production lens and really take a look at the bokeh shots on the computer and whatnot, but we do have some sunlight coming off the river, and so I just had an opportunity to test it here. Shooting at 5.6, actually the bokeh is beautiful. We're not really getting much cat's eye in the corner. Nice and round, of course, wide open, but even when we stop down to f8, the bokeh still stays quite round. So what I am noticing absolutely is transitions from in focus to out of focus are actually really beautiful on this lens. Nice and smooth. When you're shooting telephotos, birds against trees and stuff, it's very important to have nice, smooth bokeh. This lens absolutely has it. Now, of course, I would love to test sharpness on this lens, but as I mentioned, we still have a lot of haze in the sky. That's not fair. It's pre-production. That's not really fair to the lens. We don't have an opportunity to like shoot our test chart in a controlled situation either. Look, I mean, what I will say is in the screen, things are looking very sharp, and Nikon have a very good history of making very good telephoto lenses. So I'm very confident it will be a sharp lens, but I'm going to reserve judgment until we get to play with a production lens. And we will say here that we are committing to doing a full review on this lens when we have a final production copy. So I've really enjoyed my time here with the 180 to 600. I know this is just a sneak peek, a quick look. We can't give you a lot of info yet, but I have a good feeling about this lens. I can't wait to try a final production version of it. And I feel like this is, again, just like the 200 to 500 in the SLR days, gonna be a very popular choice for enthusiast wildlife and sports photographers that maybe don't wanna put out for 2.8 primes, but want also the versatility of a really nice zoom range. I think this is gonna suit their needs. Now, before we go, look at this. I do have the oh, I almost said it. I almost forgot, I promised you guys a little sneak peek at the brand new Nikkor Z 70 to 180 f2.8. Look how much more compact that is than the Nikkor 70 to 200 2.8. This is gonna give you that same useful professional telephoto range, that bright f2.8 aperture, but definitely at a more affordable price point. This actually will take the Nikkor teleconverters just like the 180 to 600 will. I think that's important to mention as well. But you know, I can't help but be reminded of a similar lens that Tamron makes. They make a 70 to 180 f2.8, and that was actually one of our favorite lenses that we've ever tested. But this says Nikkor, this doesn't say Tamron. This is still pre-production, so I gotta wait to test it to really see how it is. But if it's anything like that Tamron, then it should be a really good lens, because we really like that Tamron. I'm sure this will be very similar, if not better, as I avoid eye contact with my Nikon rep there over the corner, who I very much respect and appreciate his time and efforts. But yeah, this is not Tamron, this is Nikkor. Well, thanks for joining us at this quick look at these brand new pre-production Nikkor telephoto lenses right by the shores of the Bow River, which I know and love very well. Thank you guys for joining us. Please leave your comments below, share your thoughts. Do click that notification bell and subscribe to the channel so you can check out our podcast here on YouTube. If you've clicked that, you're already getting that. Otherwise, you can also listen to that on all of your favorite podcast apps. We'd really love for you guys to join us there. Our Instagram and Twitter, follow us, see what we're up to. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon for another episode on PetaPixel.